To journalists, it was dishonest for the Bayelsa State government to claim that the demolition of its property was politically motivated because the state did not support his presidential bid. He said he wrote letters and personally spoke with the governor of Bayelsa State about the need to either rebuild the house or sell it. As you may know, the Rivers State government on Friday demolished 2 buildings belonging to the Bayelsa State government at number 5 and 9 Akasa Street, Old GRA, Port Harcourt. It said the buildings were constituting a nuisance. Moving on, the chairman of the Media and Publicity Subcommittee of the Siminalayi Fubara and Professor Ngozi Odon Inauguration Committee in Rivers State, Chris Feinburn, says activities for the inauguration of the governor-elect Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu begins today. Mr. Feinburn said this during a media briefing in Port Harcourt today. Mr. Feinburn also outlined some of the activities lined up for the event. Also, the alternate chairperson of the committee, Ibim Seminitari, assured that the Siminalayi Fubara will deliver on the manifesto of his administration. Mrs. Ibim said the new administration is focused on creating an economically viable river state.
There is a focus on agriculture as a means for encouraging small businesses. In his manifesto, he had spoken about opening up and freeing up land so that there will be a land tenure that will make it possible for people to turn their land into wealth. I think that those are some specifics that he's spoken about that can help us.
She said the incoming administration of Siminalayi Fubara will also focus on infrastructural development to encourage small-scale businesses. APC chieftain Tony Okocha says it is indisputable that the SDP governorship candidate Magnus Abe didn't campaign for the president-elect Bola Tinubu in the February 25 presidential election. Mr. Okocha said this while addressing journalists shortly after he received an award of excellence from the Ikwere Media Practitioners Association of Nigeria at his residence in Port Harcourt. Mr. Okocha insists that he is the leader of the APC in Rivers State. It described as absurd the statement credited to former spokesman of the SDP Campaign Council in Rivers State, Bethel Okojaja, that he is not a member of the APC.
Even at the point when it was precarious, we didn't know where we were going to. But we were dead sure that there was light at the end of the tunnel. Tinubu emerged as candidate, and we followed up when some people dropped off. I hear one Okojaja is saying that I'm not a member. He is spokesperson of SDP. How a spokesperson of another party will tell somebody else that he's not a member of the other party? I think it's an absurd, completely an absurd. Don't forget that we had division in the APC. Magnus was the team lead of my own faction, and we are quizzed to his leadership. From the point he left APC to SDP, he never mentioned Tinubu. And those were the critical stages. We saw Tinubu from beginning to the end, and Tinubu is president.
Mr. Okocha also said he's not bothered about any appointment that may be given to Senator Magnus Abe by the president-elect.
Like I said to people and anybody that cares to hear, whatever he wants to get, even if the president is to carve out another office called Deputy President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that they are going to amend the constitution to make an office called Deputy, and they feel that Magnus is meet and germane to be given, they should give him. I don't care. This sky you see is too large for birds to collide. But when he stands, whatever he is doing, on the plank of falsehood, I will not agree.
Correspondent Emeka Otika reports that the leader of the Ikwere Media Practitioners Association of Nigeria, Monday Weire, said Mr. Okocha is the third recipient of the award since the inception of the group in 2008. To other news now, the police command in Anambra State says 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with Tuesday's attack on the U.S. consulate convoy in Ogbaru local government area of the state. Speaking on Thursday, Anambra State Commissioner of Police Mr. Echeng said a joint security task force composed of police tactical teams and troops of the Nigerian Army and Navy raided the suspect's hideout at Ugu and Nochia community within Ogbaru LGA. He said preliminary investigations conducted by the police revealed that 7 persons were killed in the assault. Of the 7, 3 were U.S. consulate officials and 4 were mobile police escorts. A widow, Victoria Briggs, is seeking justice after her husband, Bianga Briggs, was killed on the 13th of March 2023 at his office on Eastern Bypass in Port Harcourt City, local government area. Mrs. Briggs, a mother of 2, tells her correspondent that her husband was killed by some suspected land grabbers led by one Mr. Agama Jewel during a fight at his office. She alleged that Mr. Jewel issued an eviction letter to her husband that he had encroached on community land. She said the land was sold to her husband by the chairman of Loloama community.
This Agama Jewel, they came to my husband's office with some people. They came there to engage on a fight, serious fighting. So people came, my husband came out to separate the fight. That was all. The next thing, the Agama Jewel said, "You held my shirt. He held my shirt, right? I'm coming for you." The next thing, he called the guys. They just enter and people ran away. So they were just pursuing my husband. Even when he was running, he quickly picked called the policeman. That policeman, he was on call with the policeman, shouting, "They want to kill me, they are pursuing me," and they hit him at a spot. They hit him on his head and he was unconscious, and they threw him inside water near the office.
Mrs. Briggs said Mr. Jewel, who was arrested and was standing trial for the alleged murder of her husband in the magistrate court, was released by the magistrate court while the investigation is still ongoing.
They discharged him. The autopsy result is not yet out. The police got that they are still doing investigation. So that this person still needs to remain there until these things have been done. The magistrate refused, and he was granted bail. And they now adjourned the case to April 17th. Reaching April 17th, the magistrate did not come to court. These same people did not come, showing that they were communicating. My husband was killed, and no justice. The killer had just been released without no reason. I want the world to know who have killed my husband and what has been done.
Meanwhile, Mr. Agama Jewel has not responded to the allegation. Moving on. The Rumolumani United Royal Families Rumu Kenda Oro Kocha in Obiakpa local government area have distanced themselves from the installation of Mr. Elvis Victor Imeham as the paramount ruler of Rumolumani community. Chairman of Rumu Kenda Royal Families, Austin Amadi Wuche, at a media briefing said they are not aware of the purported installation of Victor Imeham and will not support it. He, however, advised those making such announcements to refrain from such to avoid disrupting the peace in the community.
What transpired on Monday, we, the entire royal family, the ruling family, we are not aware of what they are doing in our father's house. So we are telling the public, whatever they did on Monday, the family are telling the public to disregard of all what they are doing. We are not in support. We are not in support of that. Therefore, we are saying the entire public to disregard the person they are appointing because the royal families are not aware of it. Therefore, let them stop disturbing the peace of the community and the peace of royal family.
Also speaking, Chief Innocent Ogbunda and Chief Kingsley Imeham Woji, who are members of the Rumolumini United Royal Families Rumu Kenda in Oro Kocha, described the endorsement of Mr. Victor Imeham Woji as null and void because it does not have the backing of the royal families.
Who has been out on this community for almost 10 years. He's not a member of the Royal House. He's not a registered member of the Royal House. Don't know where they brought him to be our Royal Highness. The members of Royal House agree with that their nomination. We don't know him.
So the public should disregard whatever they have done in Woji family is null and void. I'm not aware of it, and the public should know that I'm not aware of it.
On their part, Chief Ikeadim Ogbana, Chief Williams Amadi George, and the youth leader of Rumukenda, Idamati Daniel, also spoke.
We are telling the public that what happened on Monday, we don't know. Nobody knows. We are already registered members in the Umokenda family. But the person they brought, we don't know him. So we are telling public to discard their talk. They are not on the line. So what they said is cancel.
It was a shock news because we are 8 families in this history of Rumolumeni that rules this community. Today, we are here because we are angry because somebody blackmailed us. That we are in support of what they have done in Monday. We are not in support. We are not there. So we all here today, 8 families here today. They are calling on River State. They are calling calling on the whole Nigeria to know that we are 8 families that rule this community.
Person they brought on Monday saying that is our Royal Highness, we don't know him.
Still ahead, EFCC begins investigation of Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State over alleged 70 billion naira fraud. Stay tuned as we go for a quick commercial break.
You are tuned in to
Nigeria Info. We'll be right back after this.
Staying tuned, welcome back. The River State Coordinator of National Youth Service Corps, George Mfongang, has commended the chairman of Ikoyi local government area, Samuel Wanosike, for putting finishing touches to a new Coppers Lodge built by his administration to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the scheme. Mr. Mfongang, while speaking after inspecting the facility, commended the council boards for such a facility at a time the NYC is celebrating their golden jubilee.
Take somebody with a very large heart and back on such projects because it involves a lot of capital, and you know the time we are where funds are very limited with so many attentions needed like that. But he has done this to show you that he loves the NYC. Sure that he's just speak from his father, who is the state governor, making sure that anything about the NYC is prioritized. Yes. I really want to take the opportunity to thank the chairman of Ikoyi local government area. He has done really well.
The 28-room, two-wing lodge is equipped with state-of-the-art facilities, constant power supply, including 2 common rooms and porter's lodge. The youth coordinator of Olomu Ogbo Ama Host Community of Government Secondary School, Borokri, Port Harcourt, Precious Tobin George, has called for the proper prosecution of the principal of Government Secondary School, Borokri, Ila Iwo. Mr. Iwo was detained at the Borokri Police Division yesterday after some aggrieved parents dragged him to the police for allegedly defrauding them during the WAEC registration exercise. Recalled that some aggrieved parents of SS3 students of Government Secondary School Borokri in Port Harcourt City local government area yesterday marched to the school to disrupt the ongoing WAEC examination over the exclusion of the children for the exam. But speaking to our correspondent, Mr. George said the prosecution of the principal will serve as a deterrent to others.
Because of selfish interests, you will deny students writing exam. We must not allow it slide. There must be a penalty for this, for others to learn that. Because not only this school, many other schools I believe have been doing this kind of things. Extorting, collecting money from children, asking them to bring money to the school.
Meanwhile, there are indications that the principal of Government Secondary School, Ila Iwo, may be released by the police. Some of the aggrieved parents who returned to the police station this morning spoke to correspondent Emeka Otika on the agreement reached with the principal of the school.
We are trying to settle the issue out from court so that the principal will settle incidents. That is where we are now.
Currently, we are in police station Borokiri now. We have agreed that the principal will pay damage of 1.3. What the police is trying to do now, since the principal is pleading, it's okay. He's going to pay the damage of the student. The only time things will come up is when he promised to enroll the student in NECO exam. So when he does not give us the tangible result that we expect to take, so then we will come up again.
To other news, The EFCC says the outgoing governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, is under investigation for alleged 70 billion naira fraud. The commission, in a statement today, said the governor is being investigated over allegations of monumental corruption, award of phantom contracts, and diversion of over 70 billion naira. President Muhammadu Buhari will on Thursday, May 25, confer national honors on President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his Vice Presidential-elect Kashim Shettima. They both will be conferred with the national honors of Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, GCFR, and Grand Commander of the Order of Niger, GCON. In a statement by the President's Special Assistant on Digital and New Media, Tolu Ogunlesi, the President will officially hand over transition documents to the incoming administration on the same day. In business, the IMF says the removal of trade barriers among African countries will help lift 50 million people out of poverty. The IMF said this in its recent report titled Trade Integration in Africa. In entertainment, a Sabo Yaba Chief Magistrate Court in Lagos today granted an application for an extension of remand of Afrobeat singer Seun Kuti for additional 4 days. The Chief Magistrate, Mrs. Adeola Olatubosun, extended Kuti's remand until May 22. Seun Kuti is being detained for assaulting a police personnel in Lagos. In sports, Rafael Nadal will miss the French Open for the first time in 19 years after a hip injury ruled out the record 14-time men's singles champion. The 36-year-old Spaniard, who has won 22 major trophies, also said he plans to retire after the 2024 season.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
On the foreign scene, Queen Elizabeth II's funeral and related events cost the government an estimated £162 million. The state funeral, held on 19th September 2022, followed a period of national mourning. The biggest costs, which is £74 million, were covered by the Home Office, while the Department of Culture, Media and Sports covered £57 million. On the news this evening, you heard Governor Wike has vowed not to apologize for demolishing the properties of the Bayelsa State government in Port Harcourt. Anambra State Police Command has arrested 2 suspects in connection with the attack on the U.S. consulate convoy. The FCC has begun investigation of Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State over alleged 70 billion naira fraud. President Buhari to confer national honors on President-elect and Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima. A magistrate court in Lagos has granted application to extend Seun Kuti's remand for another 4 days. On the foreign scene, UK government has put cost of Queen Elizabeth II's funeral at about £162 million. The news was edited by Oyinkachi Wonsu. Cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this evening pierces the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I am Kalada Kurubatbo. Good evening, and do stay tuned. Conversations continue after the break.